Welcome to the Northeast Florida Development Diaries, the place where we share the stories shaping the future of our region. This series is brought to you by the Northeast Florida Economic Development Corporation, a partnership committed to strengthening our communities, attracting investment, and expanding opportunity across Northeast Florida. I'm Amber Shepard, the Strategic Alliances Business Partner for Northeast Florida Economic Development Corporation, and your host. Each episode, we sit down with investor members, state leaders, and innovators who are driving growth, not just in boardrooms, but in neighborhoods, schools, and local businesses across our counties. These conversations shine a light on the people and programs moving our region forward and the impact their work has on our communities. This is where insight meets action. This is the Development Diaries. Today, we're joined by Derick Thomas, this year's chair of the Northeast Florida Economic Development Corporation. Derick brings a deep and practical understanding of regional economic development shaped by decades of leadership in communications, government relations, and community engagement. Since joining Clay Electric Cooperative in 1999, he has served as Chief Public Relations Officer for nearly 15 years, guiding economic development initiatives across 15 Northeast Florida counties and helping position infrastructure, policy, and partnerships as drivers of long-term growth and sustainability. His experience also includes work with the Florida Farm Bureau, where he supported advocacy and policy efforts that strengthen Florida's agricultural economy, underscoring his commitment to foundational industries and rural communities throughout the state. Derick, we're honored to have you with us. Let's start with your professional journey and what led you to step into the role of chair for the NEF EDC at this pivotal time.
Thanks, Amber. Yeah, so working for Clay Electric, we are a member consumer owned organization. And so one of the things that's been in our mission since we were founded in the 30s was to improve the quality of life for our members. In the 30s, that was electricity for rural members. As you fast forward to 2026, that's other things, right? And so it's just sort of embedded in what we do is to try to make our communities stronger. And I believe, and Clay Electric supports economic development is the best way to improve the quality of life in your communities. We're all trying to improve education outcomes, lower crime, cost of living, all the things that communities want to improve. Kind of foundational to all of that is economic development. So it's exciting for me to get to do something that's very rewarding in helping our communities, and I get paid for it. So it's a double benefit. So it's very rewarding to see opportunities for people to have a hand up to do better, and so that's why I do what I do, and I'm happy to do it.
That's awesome. It is a benefit, it is a blessing when you can be passionate about the work that you're doing and you know that the work really matters to people beyond just you and your family, right? Like we are making strides to truly change lives and the trajectory of family lines for generations to come.
Right.
What would you say that you love most about doing business in this region?
So I grew up here. My family on both sides have been here for a long, long time. I'm not going to say how long, but for a very long time. And so it's home. And so one thing that's nice about Northeast Florida, North Central Florida is home. It's where I wanted to raise my family. It's where many of us are fortunate enough to choose to live, work, play, pray. And so it's obviously it's Clay Electric service area, but it's where I grew up, and so I have a vested interest personally and professionally to see Northeast Florida be the best it can be for all of us.
When you think about the growth happening around North Florida and our region, what excites you the most?
So it's kind of funny. So growth kind of scares some people, I think, now in Florida, but especially in rural communities, they're a little bit hesitant about growth. But I do think we all want better opportunities for our kids. and for ourselves. And a lot of that comes with economic development growth. And what I mean by that is not necessarily just beds for heads, but places for people to work, places that have better wages, better benefits, so that they can, improve their quality of life and the opportunities for their kids.
I know we hear a lot about smart growth, and I think I've actually heard some citizens say that if they hear the word smart growth one more time, they're going to lose it. And that challenged me to really consider the language that we use. And I think I prefer over smart growth the terminology responsible growth, because
Right.
we've been given these resources and we only really have the opportunity to do it one time. And we have to be responsible with the resources that we've been given and build them out in such a way that it's healthy to our environment, our ecosystem. You know, we have to be mindful of our rivers, lakes, and streams. And then also, to your point, giving the future generation opportunity to do things that they had never imagined. And so I do think that we have a responsibility to endeavor and steward those resources correctly and use them to shape the future. How did you first get connected with the Northeast Florida Economic Development Corporation?
Clay Electrics, we have been and always will be members of all of our service areas, chambers of commerce and economic development groups. And so as the Northeast Florida EDC was getting started, I got invited to some of those planning meetings as they were sort of transitioning from the old development authority to the new regional EDC. And so kind of knew about it through the beginning of it getting started. And then I can't really remember who exactly reached out and asked us to be a member of that. But we obviously wanted to be. And so we did. And so glad we did. And we're excited about the future opportunities for the Northeast Florida EDC.
I'm so glad you did too. And now we've roped you into being our chair. So that's a true blessing for our EDC. From your perspective, how has NEF EDC helped create opportunities or visibility for businesses in the community?
Yeah, I think the regional approach is something that's a little newer to our part of Florida. And so we've kind of been, this county or this city has their own attempt at economic development. I think the Northeast Florida EDC has the opportunity, I think, to create some synergy regionally, because typically when businesses are looking to expand or relocate, they're looking at a region. They're not looking at just one city or just one county. And I think there's a lot of synergy that can take place from having a regional group. And so that's what's kind of exciting to me about the regional EDC approach is we can, I believe, help the city and the counties, but then we're all using the same workforce in many cases, or that industry or that business is looking at Northeast Florida, but they haven't zeroed in on one community. And so, from an economic development perspective, our philosophy at Clay Electric's always been, if we can get them into the region, we're all better off, right?
Mhm.
If it's better for our communities. And then, even if it's not something that's in my community, or in our case, something that we serve directly, it's still going to benefit our members, our neighbors, our citizens, because it's going to be an opportunity within the region. So I think that's one thing that's very interesting to me about the Northeast Florida EDC versus some of the other more specific economic development organizations that we work with.
For business owners who might be considered joining, what would you tell them about your experience?
I think they need to come visit the area. I think the people sell Northeast Florida, and I think you can. I know you've got to do the clicks online and you've got to do all the data mining that they do, but I think what really sets us apart is the people. I'm biased because I grew up here, but I will say I think if they come and they interact with our neighbors and our friends, they're gonna understand that Northeast Florida is unique and it's special, and not just what we have to offer from recreation or transportation or things of that nature, but just our people, our good people. They're good friends and they're good neighbors and they're just good people to interact with. And it's kind of, you have to come experience that. I don't know that that's something you can just, you can't click on the mouse and get that feel without coming. So I would encourage them to do the clicks, but to come visit us. And I think when they interact with our team at any Northeast Florida EDC and meet our communities and our neighbors, they're gonna like it here.
I think if they can come and experience that Southern hospitality for themselves, it'll be hard for them to leave. So, what's next on your horizon? Are there any exciting projects or goals for Clay Electric?
So for Clay Electric and our kind of philosophy to supporting economic development, we really support the existing economic development groups that are out there. That's kind of our philosophy. So we don't have per se our own goals or projects that we're working on, but we just want to see economic development groups like Northeast Florida succeed. And we want to support the professionals there that are doing the work that they need to do. Our part of infrastructure is kind of a small part on the front end, and we want to get that right and be a good team player in that space. But we want to support you guys who are doing the work day in and day out, dealing with all the requests for information and dealing with all the prospective folks. So we want y'all to succeed, and if y'all are succeeding, then we're successful. And like I mentioned before, we look at it regionally. We don't serve all of the counties we're in, but if those counties are doing well and they're growing, even if we don't serve the businesses or new load that's coming in, it's still making our communities better. It's still making our communities stronger. And that's why we have a regional mindset when we look at economic development at Clay Electric. And that's why it's a good mesh with our partnership with Northeast Florida EDC, because you're doing the same thing.
When you think about the next 5 years, what do you hope to see for Northeast Florida as a region?
I hope to see growth that creates opportunities, positive economic opportunities for our residents, our members, our neighbors, and is supported. I think one of the things that we can do in the economic development space to help our local citizens, our local elected officials, and ultimately anybody who's looking to expand or locate in our area is build consensus about what it is we want to see here and what's acceptable and what's the right kind of growth and job opportunities that all of our citizens can buy into and be supportive of. So I hope to see in 5 years that we've grown, that we've created positive economic outputs, that they're supported, and our community members see the value in the efforts that a lot of people are doing in the economic development space.
Is there anything else that you could share with individuals that might be watching this podcast about our community and why they should come check us out?
Yeah, I would say if you care about if you care about the community you live in, whether you're new or you've been here forever, I think economic development's important. And so I would encourage you to get involved in some way, join, become a member. I know that takes money, but even if you don't want to join at that level, just get involved in the process and be engaged, because economic development, like I said earlier, it is foundational to, I think, improving a lot of the things we want to see improved in our community. We want high graduation rates. We want low crime. We want high wages. And a lot of that is foundational to having strong economic development activity. So if you care about your community, I know everybody's busy. I know everybody's got a lot of things going on, irons in a lot of fires, but if you can get involved in economic development with the Northeast Florida Economic Development, please do. We're welcome. We want new members. We want your involvement, and we want your input. And so that would be my ask, and that would be what I would say is get involved.
We have usually a board member meeting the third Wednesday of every month at 1:15 at the Capital City Bank in Stark in the community room. And the first portion of that meeting is open to the public. So if you are interested in learning more, you could join us for that open meeting portion and hear some of the project updates and the things that we have going on. And that's typically open to the public for about the first hour. So we have plenty of seating, and we definitely open the doors to individuals who are interested in being involved and would love to have you join us. Derick, one final question. If people
Okay.
had some additional questions and they would like to reach out to you, how could they get in touch with you?
So if they want to call me on the phone, 352-473 8000. If they want to email me, dthomas@clayelectric.com. So that's dthomas@clayelectric, one word.com, or 352-473 8000.
Derick, thank you for your leadership, your service, and your continued commitment to advancing economic opportunity across Northeast Florida. We appreciate your time, your insight, and the steady vision you bring as chair of NEF EDC as we look ahead to the region's next chapter. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Northeast Florida Development Diaries. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, like, and share this episode and stay connected as we continue highlighting the leaders and innovators driving growth across our region. We appreciate you and we look forward to having you with us on the next episode and maybe even at our next board meeting.